Hello fellow fic writers, kudos for clicking on this video. My name is Cora and I'm here to help you write and post your dream fanfiction. So on my channel, I get a lot of people who are really new to fanfiction as a medium. And while I offer all these tips on how to plan and post, choose your POV and all that, I thought to myself, what sort of tips would the most beginner of beginners want to know? And now we have this video. Here I will be sharing 5 tips that every fanfic writer should know before they start writing, so that when they're ready to write their first fanfiction, they have a good idea on what to do. Tip 1, embrace the context. Looking to write short fic or one-shots? This one's for you. One of the best things about fanfiction is how all these short stories get to exist because they only make sense if you have like 15 seasons of context. For example, you don't need to tell us who these two guys are, where they are, or why they're kissing. You already know it's Dean and Castiel in Super Hell. Depending on your story, you don't have to worry as much when it comes to world building, characters, or setup since it's all there. So this means you can leap straight into the good stuff. Tip 2. Canon is a Sunday bar. As great as it is to lean on all that context, it's not always going to translate. Just like there are changes that need to be made when adapting book to film, so too must changes be made when adapting canon to fanfiction. As an example, I write for a video game fandom, and if I did stick with canon, I wouldn't just break reader immersion, I'd pound it to dust. So if you drink this readily available potion, it magically heals you from the brink of death? Looks like the only thing getting murdered is the suspense. Also, when you're telling a canon divergent story in particular, sometimes you might still find yourself tripping over the canon world building. Like maybe your characters really need to talk to someone that would otherwise be on the other side of the country, but long distance communication isn't a thing and they don't have time to travel. It's okay to move that character if that's what it takes to make your story work. Tip 3, keep characters in character. This is one of the most common struggles I hear from fanfic writers. So here's my approach to keeping canon characterizations consistent. I'll always look at 2 things, backstory and motivation. Backstory is important because it helps you understand the lens through which your character views the world and every decision they have to make. If they've been betrayed before, that explains their reluctance to accept help when they might need it. Backstory also goes a long way to understanding details like body language, habits, or speech patterns. Do they drink tea with their pinky sticking out? Probably has something to do with their posh background. So if backstory is looking behind, motivation is looking ahead. Where backstory is the lens through which a character views decisions, motivation determines the final choice. If the betrayed character cannot achieve their goal without help, they might be willing to risk another betrayal just to realize their goal. Motivation can also inform or transform a character's mannerisms. Maybe that person who drinks with their pinky sticking out was raised in poverty, and now, as they claw their way up the class ladder, they adopt the mannerisms of the elite. When you understand backstory and motivation, the 2 mechanisms behind everything a character does, writing them in character is so much more intuitive, and your readers are going to love you for it. And if canon doesn't give you motivation or backstory, you can make it up. Reverse engineering! Do you have this struggle? Or want to know about situations where it's good to write out of character? If you'd like to see a full-length video on this topic, let me know in the comments below. Tip 4, study writing craft. But watch out! The reason why I didn't make this beginner-friendly video a step-by-step, this is how you plot, and this is how you draft, and this is how you edit, is because there's already millions of original fiction resources out there telling you how to do just that. And you should use them. But at the same time, fanfiction isn't original fiction. It's a different medium, just like a movie is different from a TV show. Because of this, there are a lot of ideas perpetuated in traditional writing advice that do not vibe well with fanfic. The biggest one is the assumption that every writing guide makes. You're trying to get published and make money off your work. So when you study craft with these kinds of resources, watch out for advice that aims to achieve the following. Page 1, broad appeal. Fanfiction is a playground to be as weird and niche as you like. If you aren't trying to make a living off your work, then what reason do you have to appeal to a market wide enough to pay your bills? Page 2. Industry standards. If publishers say your romance should be no more than 90k words, screw that. Fic readers love their 200k slow burns. Page 3. Genre conventions. Often our fan works have the elements of the source material's genre, but there isn't an expectation that you stick to that genre. Yeah, it might be an urban fantasy setting, but if you ignore that, this could be your typical road trip. Tip 5. Be self-indulgent. If you're sitting behind your screen and thinking, oh, but my idea is so bad, it's so cringy, no one will want to read it, I have one word for you. Coward. The brave are the ones who write the power fantasies about their self-inserts, the cheesy friendships between their favorite characters, the crossovers no one asked for, and the 700,000 word long epics where you move planets and stars just so your one true pairing can be together. And if you are still afraid to write what you want to write or post what you want to post, I want you to remember that all your readers will ever see of you is a username. Fanfiction has a culture of anonymity. Unless you sacrifice it in a quest to become a YouTuber who gives fanfic writing advice, no one has to know you wrote that story. But someone out there will be glad you posted it. They'll love everything self-indulgent about it. Because that's one of the main reasons why we read fanfiction. To indulge. So those are my top 5 tips for beginner fanfic writers. Did you find them helpful? Do they inspire you to work on your first fic? Are you perhaps a veteran fic writer who still got some value out of this video, or have any wisdom of your own to share? Please let me know in the comments below. And that's the end of the video. Kudos for watching, kudos for liking, and extra kudos if you've subscribed for more dreamy fanfiction tips. I will see you in my next video. But in the meantime, happy fic writing!